Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for being here. Welcome. It's been a fun week. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about this week. Always good to see where everybody is joining from in the chat. So thanks for being here. If you do have a question, just a reminder to start your message with the letter Q. That way it filters it into a different column on my screen here so I can actually see it and it won't get lost in the rest of the chat once things get going. I also added the secondary screen, so I always have the chat now available in a little tiny screen there. Yes, Bailey, explain why you're up so early in Australia. It's very early there. Although, actually, wait, didn't daylight savings time just change in Australia, and now it's like at least a little bit closer? And Nils is absolutely correct. The stream should be going already. This is one of the things that just happens in YouTube Studio. I was streaming, the little green dot appears in the studio. It says excellent connection here, and then the go live button just doesn't appear, and it just wasn't showing up. I was like, I don't know what to do. I'll hit refresh a few times, and then eventually it showed up. So yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Main thing I want to talk about today was about the event I just did yesterday, which was a lot of fun. It was an event I did at filming a conference. So there we go. Filming a conference in town here. And it was a bunch of gear on the table that I brought. It was quite the little setup, possibly not exactly the right combination of things. Definitely could have been simpler. You'll know what I mean when I start showing you the diagram or how this is all wired. But there were a couple of cool things that I think went well about it. It started out was going to be just a very simple event. Probably could have got away with one camera, even, honestly, and needed to run the projector for the computer for the presenter's slides. But then at the last minute on Wednesday or Thursday last week, they emailed and was like, hey, one of our presenters has a family emergency and needs to present remotely. And I was like, did you really just drop that on me at the last minute? So here I was thinking, okay, I'm going to like bring just the RØDECaster video or just the GoStream and do this all super simple, try to bring as little gear as possible. And then no, it exploded into a giant mess of gear on the table. So it happens. We managed to actually pull it off, and then only a couple of glitches. So we'll talk about what went well, what didn't work so well, what I would do differently next time, because that's what we do here. If Aaron's involved, it's not going to be simple, but it will be impressive. It would have been simple. Kevin says, I have that issue all the time where it says excellent connection and the preview doesn't show. Yeah, the YouTube Studio really needs some work. I don't know why they don't fix it. It really, there's just a couple of really key features that I would like to add to YouTube Studio, like make the go live button work and make the preview actually useful. Because essentially I just can't trust it. Yeah, last minute remote guest is a fun surprise. So, okay, let me start by talking about the first general approach I was taking with this. So the idea was that, so it was also a hybrid event. So there were people in the room, but there were also people watching remotely. And the way that they did the hybrid remote viewers was using a Zoom webinar, because it has a built-in registration feature. It's easier for people to understand. There's like a chat built in. It makes sense, right? So essentially the way I was approaching it was, let's film the whole event in the room and then treat the Zoom webinar as kind of like just a broadcast platform. So I had the Zoom client on my laptop, and I was treating it like I would treat an RTMP destination or like YouTube. So basically, like, the whole stream is going to get built in whatever device I'm using, and I'm going to push one video feed up to Zoom. That is a different option, which I could have done, which I didn't do, was using Zoom's screen share function. Ended up not being important. It ended up working fine. I didn't get any complaints about people saying that the slides were fuzzy, so it was fine. But yeah, so I was sending one video feed to Zoom. So for that, I was using the RØDECaster video. So that was RØDECaster video was doing sort of the main stream to Zoom. Its output, whatever it was going to have on the stream, was what was sent to the webinar. So one of the reasons I did that was because it has the nice custom layout feature, so I can create these. I can create these scenes, like scene with a slides. This was where the slides were for the presenter, and then the camera for the person speaking. I can create multiple of them, and it's really easy to manage that. So that was one of the things I liked about it. The other thing is that I had to do the presentation for Zoom. I also had to actually run the audio in the room. So in the room there were speakers. Do I have a picture of the whole room? Yeah. So in the room there were PA speakers, and I was feeding audio to those, and then also running the projector. So I really like when there's an event like this, especially if people are paying money to be there. It really just bothers me when the projector just goes blank or goes to the blue, like no signal screen between, like during the breaks when people yank their laptops off. So I always like to have something I can send to the projector during the breaks. So those were like the three main things I was doing: the remote stream, the in-room audio, and the projector. Those are three like kind of distinct jobs, and I actually did end up with basically three distinct devices for each of the jobs. So if you look at what I brought on the table here, essentially the RØDECaster Duo was running the in-room audio. So you can see the 1/4-inch jack going out to the speakers in the room. And then this was also where I plugged in the wireless microphones. So the wireless mics had I used this one for the person, like the host walking around, but then the presenters actually wanted to wear mics. I was like, you have the option, if you want to take this, you can use this, but they were all like, no, we want to clip on the mic. So I brought the Rode Wireless Go for the presenters, and they had the little lav mic. So those were all wirelessly paired into the RØDECaster Duo, and that ended up working great. So it gave me the physical sliders. I have the physical mute buttons. I will say that the actual mute button itself is a little bit hard to tell if it's muted or not, because it goes from dim red to brighter red. Like, it's not actually that much of a difference. So it's kind of hard, but you do get an indication on the screen if it's muted too. So so that ended up working well. So I had basically two mics active, and then relatively straightforward, right? Like, I can change the speaker volume with the large knob on the RØDECaster. I can make sure that the audio sounds good for the mix it's sending to the stream. So then the other cable you can see plugged into the RØDECaster Duo is the USB cable going into the RØDECaster video. So it was bringing the audio in there, and it's actually a bidirectional link with these two. So it can send audio both directions, and it's mix minus in both directions too, which is important for later. So so the RØDECaster Duo was running the in-room audio. RØDECaster Video was running the stream, essentially. And then I also had the GoStream, which was basically running the projector. So if you look, let's see if I can find another close-up of the GoStream. So it was confusing having the monitor sit on top of the GoStream, because the monitor was plugged into the RØDECaster Video, but I don't have a stand or a mount for that to put it over the RØDECaster, so I just used this. It was a little bit confusing. I do not recommend it. I did not have a monitor for the GoStream, but I did run it into my computer so I could pull up the multi-view on the, let's see, yeah, here it is. I could pull up the multi-view of the GoStream over in QuickTime in my computer if I really needed to see it, which I didn't need to see it very often. So the GoStream was essentially running the projector. So I could switch between the presenter plugging in their slides, which went into the GoStream. I could switch that out to the projector, or I could change it to the break screen, which could be a still image. Oh, the other fun thing at the last second, always got to be prepared, which is what the GoStream was really good at. The last minute changes. They were like, oh yeah, we usually put a video on the projector during the breaks, during the lunch break. And I was like, oh, I don't even, nobody even sent me that. But then they sent over PowerPoint, and I opened it in Keynote, exported it in Keynote to a MP4 file, and then and then loaded it into the GoStream's media player. So that was super handy, being able to, you can see it's in that aux. So that was the loop, video on a loop, which was I was able to then send out to the projector. So the okay, so let me go to, let's see, I think maybe I can show this diagram now. So the GoStream, essentially think of the GoStream as running the projector. So it's, I had HDMI 2 going out to the projector in the room, and then I had the inputs were the presenter's laptop. This I'll talk about later. This is for the remote guests' slides. And then I actually, thankfully, brought an iPad, because that also came in handy. We'll talk about later, talking about things that go wrong at the moment. And then 4 was another thing that that was my mistake, which I needed to use this for. So the GoStream fed the projector out of HDMI 2, and out of HDMI 1, it went into the RØDECaster video. So I had the option of choosing what goes to the RØDECaster video separately from what goes to the projector, because I can route the different inputs from the GoStream out the 2 different HDMI ports. And actually, what I ended up doing was, and this is a neat trick with the GoStream, because it actually has physical buttons for, the program and preview, you can actually set the HDMI 1 to program out and HDMI 2 to preview out, and then you have physical buttons to control the 2 different HDMI ports. So you can see what I did with the labels was I labeled, oops, it's getting cut off. There it is. So I labeled the top row the stream and the bottom row the projector, and then I had physical buttons to control what was on those, which was really handy. So yeah, nice big buttons there. And then I ended up using aux and still 1 as well. So yeah, so that was the projector controller. So then that feeds slides into the GoStream, which is the monitor 4 is up here. And you can see it's going into input 4. So basically I could change what goes into input 4 with that. So, okay, so then back to the diagram. So, okay, video, straightforward, 2 cameras going into 1 and 2, a wide shot, a close-up shot. I actually was really happy with the choice of the cameras that I brought, so I did actually take the BGH1 box cameras with me, because setting them up is a matter of running 2 wires to them, which it turns out is super useful. So I had this one in the back of the room, which is actually using this this lens, which is a 100 to 300 micro four thirds. So it's actually super zoomed in, and that worked great. Not a power zoom, so I couldn't adjust the zoom remotely, but I occasionally would run to the back of the room to adjust the zoom, but it was fine. I did put it on this motorized PTZ head, which was $100, which is super cheap, and it is cheap, it turns out. It was better than not having it, but I'm not going to say it was a fantastic piece of hardware. Also, that lens, it turns out was not balanced on this head, and I could not get it to pull up. It was too heavy, so it would tip down and then it wouldn't go back up. So I need to rebalance that if I'm going to put that much weight on it. It's really not meant to hold that. I have this now hooked up back to the camera that's back there, so I can move that camera around now, which is kind of fun. It's just this little RF remote that you can change the speed of the movements a little bit. So I can go back and like make it move slower, which is useful if you're trying to make more finer adjustments. But you can see it's really jerky. It's not, you're not going to use this for like moving smooth movements of the camera, but it was useful to be like, oh, this person is standing over here now. They like walked over to the other part of the room. So let me like twist the camera. But yeah, so setting up these two cameras was just two cables, Ethernet for power and control. So I did have exposure control remotely, which was again, super, super handy. And then also I actually ended up using HDMI rather than SDI because the switcher is HDMI. And one camera was really close to me, but the other one I just ran a fiber HDMI to, which is super cool. So those are the cameras, and I'm a fan. They're excellent for that. Where was I? Video signals. So two cameras. HDMI 4 was from the GoStream, and that was for the whatever was on the projector. Whatever's going to be fed to the projector, I could then feed into the stream. And then the other was HDMI 3 was a converter from the deck link, and that was for the remote guest. So outputs from the RØDECaster, one was just to a monitor on the desk I had. And then weirdly, I couldn't get this is, I guess, not surprising. In the manual, like they're very clear about you have to use the USB cord that comes with the RØDECaster video into your computer. It's like high quality USB, and that is what you're supposed to use. I didn't have enough USB ports on my laptop because I had the two USB laptop. So it was essentially it was one of those ports went out to the deck link in the enclosure. The other one went to this little hub, which doesn't have another USB-C. That's just a power cord for USB-C. So I was out of USB-C ports to run directly to the RØDECaster. So what I tried to do was this enclosure actually has a Thunderbolt pass-through. So I had that plugged into the RØDECaster video, and that got audio through, but it didn't send video through. So I couldn't use the RØDECaster over USB, which was weird. But the audio went through just fine on that. So, yeah, really wish I had more USB ports on my little laptop. So, yeah, so what I ended up having to do instead was take the HDMI out of the RØDECaster, the second one, and run it into a converter that gave me SDI into the deck link, and then use the deck link capture card into Zoom, which worked fine. So brought the video into Zoom through the deck link, actually. That turned out to be really handy because when we get to the remote guest part, I made a mistake in my planning. So before the event started, I actually had, the night before the event, I didn't have a lot of time, but the night before the event, I set everything up on the table here and tried to run through using it all and actually setting it all up, because one of the things I'm most afraid of is forgetting an HDMI cable and then being like, well, I guess I just can't do the event because like one HDMI cable is missing. So I had everything set up on the table, like totally separate from this main stream setup on my desk. And that way, any cables that were over there, I knew I needed to put those into the box and bring them. So that worked out great. But yeah, the thing that I forgot about, oh, you can see me testing the Zoom ISO up here. What I forgot, see, I even like ran through Zoom ISO for testing. What I forgot about was so if you look at what I've got here in the RØDECaster video, this was my testing plan, right? The test was I have two feeds out of Zoom ISO. One is the presenter, one is their slides. So that was coming from the deck link, and that was fine, right? So I have two SDI outs. SDI out one goes into the converter for their face, and then the second SDI out goes into the GoStream for the slides, because I need to send the slides to the projector. And then I'll mix it, in the RØDECaster video, I'll mix it into a side-by-side layout with the presenter and their slides, just like they were local at this point, because now that I've got both of those video feeds in the RØDECaster video, it's just like they were here. So so that's fine. But then what do I want on the projector in the room? Well, for all the in-person speakers, I was sending a video of, I was sending the slides, obviously, right? So if you look at, well, it's blurry in this, but that's fine. So if you look at this was showing the two ports on the back of the camera. But if you look at what's on the screen there, it's the slides, obviously. For the remote presenter, I probably want to show their face remote for showing the remote guest. So that was my mistake, was I didn't have a way to route the video from the RØDECaster video back into the projector. And thankfully, I had planned on, so my rule was everything on the table is going to come with me. All of the wires that are here are going to come with me. And I'm going to bring at least one extra wire of every type. So that turned out to work to my advantage, because when I got there and I was like, oh shoot, I don't have a way to show both slides and the person speaking remotely on the stream, I was able to take my extra SDI cable that I had and go to this converter, which was, again, this was the program out that was for the stream. And because these converters have two SDI ports on them, I was able to steal the second SDI port and route it back into the GoStream, which also has SDI, thankfully. Oh my gosh. That GoStream Duet was like the most useful little thing, because I don't have to plan ahead for HDMI or SDI inputs into it, because I can use it. You can use all of them. So, yeah. So, oh my gosh, what a lifesaver. So I ended up routing. Let's see. I think I have a picture of this, of how it ended up. Oh, it's on the other. Didn't quite have all the time to prepare this. So this was the actual, this is very blurry. This was the actual event. So you can see I've got the remote guest face and the remote guest slides composed into the side-by-side layout, which goes to the stream. But then I also wanted the projector to have the side-by-side layout. And thankfully I was able to then route that back into the GoStream, and the GoStream would send the, you can see input 4 here is sending to the projector, which is the final mix of the side-by-side layout. But then the other HDMI is just the remote slides from the GoStream. So what a useful little thing. Essentially, I was using GoStream as a 4x2 matrix with a built-in video player, because I was using the video player for it, and a still graphic, which is like, it's just so useful. I love it. So yeah, so that was the, thankfully, the way I saved that. Okay, let me go see what's going on in the chat. Yeah, Heather, wouldn't this all be easier with the Constellation 2ME? Yes, all of this would be possible with the 2ME. However, the big thing that's missing from the 2ME is the audio mix minus features, which turns out was super, super useful here. And the other thing is HDMI. So I would need a stack of converters as well. But yes, the 2ME would definitely work for this. However, I don't have one, and I'm definitely not taking my 4ME out of the rack. That would take hours. And I didn't really want to buy one for this. I was also trying to see, can I do it with cheaper gear? And again, like, if I had known that there was a remote guest from the beginning, I may have planned things a little bit differently. But yeah, so if I'm just looking at the prices, interesting that it's about the same. So the 2ME is $1,700. The RØDECaster Video is $1,200, and the RØDECaster Duo is $300. So that's $1,500. So it's about the same price, actually, which is interesting. Would I recommend this combo of gear again? Not necessarily. The 2ME Constellation is definitely good for that. Definitely made for that. Yeah, so mix minus is sort of added in the Constellation now with the new firmware upgrade. Sort of. It's not really mix minus. It's audio routing, which is useful, but not really for this. So yeah, okay. Let me see if there's anything else about this before I continue. Gwen says, I'm paranoid about forgetting gear too. It sucks when you forget that one small critical thing. Yeah, like the power supply on the boat live stream. Matt says, I always need more USB ports on everything. My computer, iPad. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, blank looks bad. It's like dead air in broadcast. I always have a safe, may not be perfect, but it's better than blank screen graphic I can cut to just in case. I totally agree. So just like most shows, they really put you through the test. Yeah. Number of unexpected things. Let me see. Let me see if I can add this up really quick. The number of unexpected things. Remote guest. There was animation or a video loop for a break screen. What else? I'm gonna keep adding to this list as I keep going. Okay. So audio. And this is where the Rode stuff really shines. So, and this is what it would take me some extra thought to figure out how to do this in the Constellation. So, oh, I didn't put the RØDECaster Duo on this yet. Okay, so audio routing was, again, the two wireless microphones into the RØDECaster Duo for the presenters. Oh, the other unexpected thing was, I guess it's my fault for not looking at the schedule. It wasn't that unexpected. Should not have been unexpected. But one of the presentations had two speakers instead of just like the one speaker like everybody else was doing. And thankfully, I did have two microphones, so it wasn't a problem. I should have known that going into it. Yeah, can you tell me more about mix minus? Okay, so none of this would not have been important if it were only an in-person event. It's only a problem because it was a hybrid event. So the remote guest situation was what really just threw a wrench into this whole thing. Let me find, I thought I had a better picture of that. Yeah, not really. Okay, so I guess this one's okay. So the remote guest, wait, I have a picture showing my Zoom window somewhere. That's the one I want to show. This was also something that, again, because it was kind of a last minute addition, I maybe would do differently next time. So back to the beginning, the way I was originally thinking of this was we produce the event on site and then send one feed to Zoom because it was a Zoom webinar. That meant the way I was thinking about it was, well, let me grab the remote guest in separately and bring them into the stream, into the room, so I can mix them in the room, and then I will mix that into the stream as if they were a local presenter. So essentially what that means is I actually had a second Zoom window running. So I had the Zoom app on my computer. It's back there. And that's running the webinar. And that's signed into not my Zoom account, that's signed into the account for the event, running the Zoom webinar. And it's just one camera source from the, well, DAC link, weirdly. Then separately from that, I was running Zoom ISO. And Zoom ISO is a totally separate application. So I signed into a different account. I signed into my own account. And I sent the remote presenter a link to that Zoom session. So she is seeing just me in the Zoom, she's not part of the Zoom webinar at all. And my theory with that was, well, this will let me break out her video and her slides into two outputs in the deck link, and I can bring those into the rest of the production, and then send, because this whole, whatever's in the program of the RØDECaster video is going out back into the webinar, it's all fine. It worked, and one of the nice things is you can, like, this is a completely separate Zoom from the webinar, right? So like I can send this to her ahead of time. She can join, we can talk in there, and it's like not going to carry over to the Zoom webinar. There's no mixing. I think there's some sort of like back green room thing in Zoom webinar, but I've only been on the like presenting side in Zoom webinars. So I didn't even know the tools enough to know that was what those options were. So it's just made it nice and simple. And so basically I just get two outputs. I get one with her video, one with her slides, and it's going into the RØDECaster video, and it's straightforward. It worked. If I do it again, I would bring a second computer to run just this Zoom. The reason for that is because my computer got, by the end of the 8 hours, my computer was not having a good day. It was really warm. It's doing a lot of stuff in here. I also had the Lumix software up, and I had the Rode Central software up, both which pull video feeds over the network. And for the first couple of minutes of her presentation, the CPU was just too busy, and there was a bunch of crackling in the audio, which is terrible. And it's just because the computer couldn't handle it. So what I would do, if I do this again with a remote guest in a hybrid situation, either I would do that Zoom completely separately on a separate machine so that it can be just for Zoom, or actually integrate the remote guest into the webinar. Because what I could have done was join Zoom ISO into the webinar, had her join the webinar, and then pull her video feed out of the webinar. And she would be screen sharing into the webinar also. And then essentially that's like, instead of treating it, the remote, as like a totally separate thing and just broadcasting to the Zoom webinar, it's actually like turning the webinar into part of the production, which is just, I have to get my head around things a little bit more to do that, especially with the audio routing. But I think I would do that for next time. Also, just having a second computer would probably have been a good idea at this point. I was asking that computer to do an awful lot of work. And it can handle it. It's M2 MacBook Air. It's surprisingly powerful. Okay, so yeah. Oh, the other thing is at one point, Zoom ISO crashed, and thankfully, I had already joined my phone into that Zoom meeting, which is why there's two of me in there, just so I could like talk to her while I was figuring this out. And then Zoom ISO crashed, and then my phone was the host, thankfully, so it worked out, and I was able to join back in. But oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay. So audio. This is the complicated part. So I have a Zoom meeting here, and she's sending me her audio feed, and she's got headphones in. This is going out the SDI port. So the audio for her is showing up in RØDECaster video input 3. So HDMI 3 has her audio. Her audio needs to go to the stream, which is, I just turn it on there and it's in the stream. Her audio also needs to go into the room audio. So this is where the combination of the RØDECaster Video and RØDECaster Duo came in really handy. So her audio is coming in here. This is connected over USB into this. This is running the room audio. So I had a way to bring her room audio into the USB input here and blast her audio into the room. But remember that this is also where the microphones are connected, and I need the microphones in the stream, so I need this audio to be in the RØDECaster Video. And that's what mix minus is for. So basically, the audio that the video is sending to the Duo does not contain the audio that the Duo is sending back to the video, and vice versa. So it was two-way mix minus, and that actually made it work out well. So, for example, if I was using the Constellation for this, and I had everything going into the Constellation, the wireless microphones are going to be in the Duo, right? And then I need the audio from the guest, which only exists in the Constellation. I need that to go to the Duo, but then I need it to not go back into the Constellation. So I think I can do it because the Duo has a bunch of audio routing options, but I don't have the help of the Constellation for that audio routing, unless maybe you can use the new audio routing features. So, so that's mix minus. It's basically like from the point of view of the Duo, it's sending audio out the USB except for what it gets from that USB. That makes sense. Yeah, so I was able to route her audio into the room. We could talk to her through the microphone, so like the audience questions, because the microphones were plugged in here, which sent the audio over USB to this, which then this was the audio source for the Zoom meeting that she was in. So that way she can hear the questions in the room on that microphone. So that's a lot of audio routing, which always hurts my brain because you can't see it. Okay. Yeah, the MacBook probably did do thermal throttling. I've had way better experience with the base model Mac Mini compared to the MacBook Air. I am not surprised. I maybe should have brought my Mac Mini. Yeah. No audio sync issues? No, because if you look at the way the audio was being routed, as far as audio sync goes, everything's already in sync because her Zoom video and audio are getting sent into the same source, the same input, so they're already in sync. So as long as they're in sync in Zoom, which they usually are. So yeah, that was fine. And it wasn't like a conversation back and forth, other than the Q&A, which is not quite the same as a conversation. So there wasn't any latency issues. Good question. For me to better understand the differences between the devices, would that setup also have been possible using a Magewell Director Mini instead of the RØDECaster Video? Oh boy. Well, there's a different number of HDMI inputs on the Magewell Director Mini. So if I discount that and try to like imagine, could I do it with one camera instead of two cameras? That is an interesting question. Could I have done that with the Magewell Director Mini? So let's say I bring in the slides over, well, USB, because I could use the USB out of the GoStream. So I can bring the slides in over USB. I could bring a camera in over HDMI. The remote presenter's camera, I could bring in using another HDMI. Would that work with the Director Mini? I might have to try it. I might have to try that. I can't quite picture it. Can you show the deck link enclosure you're using? Yes, I can. Let's see, I think it's on B&H. No. Do I have it there? Yes. It is the Sonnet. That should be in the chat now. I got this one because it has, there is a cheaper one, but I got this one because it has 3 slots instead of just 1 slot. I figured if I'm going to be spending money anyway to like, and have a whole extra thing, like I don't want it to be limited to just 1 card. So, yeah, I can put 3 cards into it. Right now I have the deck link and I have the 2110 card and I have 1 free, for future use. Audio routing is usually the thing that messes me up, so I really appreciate when there's budget for a dedicated sound person with more expertise. I 100% agree. Also, it's really useful when there's a sound person running the audio in the room, and you can just be like, send me the room audio, the microphones. But yeah. 4H Comedy says, I haven't been able to zoom into a camera feed when creating a scene. Oh, I can show you how to do that. It's, yeah. So if you've created a scene in the RØDECaster video using the buttons here, like this, where let's say I want this to be the overhead and this to be, oh, my names are all wrong now. So if I do this and then save it here, now let's go over to the Rode Central and see what it did. This is what the scene looks like now. And let's say I wanted to zoom into that. Well, I don't have any options here, so you have to go from here down to custom. Turn it into a custom layout first. Once it's a custom layout, now you have all these options for resizing. So now I can like go like that, trim that down, make that bigger, move it around. Now it doesn't have to be in the corner. I can do whatever I want with it, right? So you just have to turn it into a custom scene first. When will the RØDECaster video be available in other places like Amazon? I heard November, not 100% sure on that, but that's my understanding. Videogram says, was this a one-man gig or did you have a cameraman with comms on staff, and how long was installation? Yeah, good question. No, it was only me. I was the only tech person. The only help I got from the tech side was setting up the projector, the projector screen, which is really handy actually, because that was a lot of work. It was a really cool projector screen though. It all collapsed down into this like small package that was maybe like 3 feet long at most, and that turned into this like huge screen. Here, I actually have a time lapse of the setup. So you'll see I started taking the screen up, and then they were like, oh no, we have someone here who can set it up. So that was unfolding the screen on the floor, and then you'll see someone come and set it up in a little bit. But yeah, this is me setting everything up. They had staff doing like the tables and chairs and food and stuff, but I did it was just me on the video stuff. I got my little tablecloth, unpack all the gear, and I thankfully brought notes for, I had written down the connections between things before I tore down all the setup at home. Yeah, look at that projector getting set up. So I was able to refer to my notes of like what inputs did I have connected where, which, oh my gosh, thank goodness I did that, because that was a lot of connections that I would have had to figure out. So yeah, plugging in everything, testing. It took me, let's see, I got in. Oh, you can see my phone there. That's hilarious. 8:30, 8:31. Oh, that's the other person's phone. I was playing music during setup. I got there at 7, and I was just barely ready to go at 9 for the first person. And so yeah, basically 2 hours for all this. The cameras were like the last thing that I set up too, which was kind of funny. And there we go. Off to the races. I had a screen just like that. Nice. Yeah. IT Never Gets Old says, one of the goals of this was to keep it compact for your bike, but in the end, would you not have been more compact with an ATEM Extreme SDI and the audio mixer? I don't have the ATEM Extreme SDI, for one. So, and could I have done everything with the ATEM Extreme SDI? 4 SDI outs on that, which does give me enough to go back into the deck link. Possibly, yes. So I do have an Extreme I could have used with 2 HDMI outs. That would not have been enough to do everything. So I don't think it would have been enough. Yeah, I don't think so. So the Extreme SDI with 4 SDI outs possibly would have worked. However, I don't own one. I did not want to buy one for this. We will see how I feel about this next time I'm asked to do an event like this. Oh, do I own the powered speakers? No. So I got referred to this event actually from someone who has watched my channel and saw my setup video, my video about filming a conference with everything on my bike, and so they've been doing this event for a while now, and they own the speakers, thankfully, and brought them down because I did not have enough room for that on my bike, which this is what it all collapsed down to. So this was the kit, and this was probably almost twice as much as I would have needed if I didn't have to deal with a remote guest. But most of the stuff's in that Pelican case, tripod strapped to the top of the trailer. That gray case is actually a case for one of the small rig lights. I took everything out of that case and then filled it up with the deck link enclosure, for example. So that was useful. And then the front bag had turns out the RØDECaster Duo is just like really bulky and doesn't fit in the Pelican case. It doesn't fit in the light case. So it was actually my front bag on the bike. But yeah, I just rolled into the event with everything on my bike. It's really nice not having to like find parking or anything, because I was just like, everything came into the event. I had it all up there already. It was like, it is a hand truck. So I just was able to take everything apart directly off there, not like having a separate unloading step, and then leave the bike in like a back room. So it's still smaller than Bart's OB bicycle. Yeah, but his is all set up already on that. He doesn't have to do all the setup. I would love to have that. I would love to have a trailer like this where everything's actually all set up and ready to go, and I can just roll in and plug in the cameras instead of having to do that whole setup process, which was long. What did I use for the time lapse? That was the DJI Action, which was pretty cool. I also like that it charges really quick because I forgot to bring extra batteries for it, and every break I would plug it in and then let it charge for the next time lapse. So I did some time lapses during the other sessions as well. So I don't know. Let's see. Is this one any good? So this is just like during one of the breaks, and then getting things. That was not super interesting. I think this one, session 3, might be a little bit more interesting. Oh, this was between presenters, getting them the 2-person pair going. Oh, here's the one from the remote presenter. So this one, oh my gosh, this was so stressful because my poor computer was working so hard. But hey, it worked out in the end. How long did teardown take? This is teardown. This was, we wrapped at 5, and when did I get home? I feel like I got home. I was able to leave at 5:45. Yep. So 45 minutes to tear down, and got everything back. It didn't quite fit as nicely because I was rushing. I ended up with some extra stuff I had to kind of wedge into the trailer, but there, oh, that was abrupt. Yep. Was the conference streamed as well or just recorded? Yeah, so that was the whole that was the one of the whole points of this. We actually had 5 times as many people on the Zoom webinar compared to in the room. So yeah, it was streamed on Zoom webinar. How many work hours did you spend on the event, including prep, travel, setup, and teardown? Good question. I actually do have the data because I track that kind of thing. I spent 5 hours on Friday prepping. That was building out the that was the time spent building out the test of everything. That also included a tech check with the remote presenter. I actually had her get on a Zoom meeting to listen to the audio to see what kind of mic she had, and make sure she was using headphones. We also like moved around a couple times in her place to find a spot with good lighting for her. So the 5 hours included. Actually, it was probably a little bit longer than it needed to be. It included the tech check with her. It included setting up this whole test of all the gear and actually chatting with the guy who normally does this event to get access to the Zoom webinar. And we spent some time like making sure that I had access to the Zoom webinar account, had to get 2-factor auth codes set up and all that. Pro tip, by the way, if you are ever sharing a Zoom account with somebody, like if you actually need to log into their account, Zoom will probably email a challenge if they detect a login from a new device. And you do not want to be in a situation where that person handed off their Zoom account to you because they're out of town or on a plane, and then you can't log in. And just because you can log in once doesn't mean you're going to be able to log in on another computer again. So the trick is go set up the Google Authenticator 2-factor auth, which does not email codes, but it's like a code generator. And make sure that you both have access to that 2-factor auth generator. So we went onto the website, he enrolled an authenticator, and then like we both scanned the QR code, and that way we had the codes in sync, and that way I could log in when I needed to. So I knew that was going to be a concern, so thankfully planned ahead for that. Yeah, okay, I was adding up time. 5 hours prep. Then we had, by the time at the end of the 5 hours on Friday night, it was like 7 p.m. and I had to get there at 7 a.m. and I was like, I am so exhausted. I do not have time to pack it up. So I left everything like this Friday night. And then it took me an hour in the morning, starting at 5 a.m. to get everything into the cases and onto the trailer. So 6 hours for that. Then at the event, there was, I got there, basically 2 hours of setup at the event. 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 hours at the event, 9 to 5. And then 40 minutes to pack. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 16, let's say 17. And then a little bit of, I'm not actually unpacked fully yet, so I should probably add another half hour or so. But yeah, 17 hours. 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, 17. That's not bad. And it definitely would have been less if there was no remote guest. So I should probably add a remote guest upcharge next time. Good advice from an authentication professional. So many meetings run into that Zoom issue. Yeah, I knew it would be a problem. And I knew he was going to be on a plane too. So I noticed the headphones during the time lapse. How often do you monitor audio, or do you check it at the beginning? Basically, I checked every time we had a new person on a new setup. So like when I had when I had to add a second microphone, or when I had the remote presenter, of course, but I didn't have it on the whole time. Having the visual of the RØDECaster Duo show me the audio levels helps, because at least I can like look over there and see if things look the same as they looked when I started. So yeah. 3 counties live. From what I've seen so far, couldn't most of this be achieved with vMix 4K software, especially the integration with Zoom and the audio routing? A lot of it can. The real trick is, one, I don't have a Windows machine, but yes, a Windows machine with a DeckLink card could have done a lot of this. I just find that to be less stable, and I don't like trusting the entire stream to Windows. Do you know why the live stream video looks grainy on the RØDECaster video compared to other switches I've used? I don't think it does. We can do a test. Let me stream this to, because I have this all set up still. I'll send this to the studio. So here, go to live stream, streaming to the studio. It should be all set up still. Yeah, it is. So what I can do is, where is it? I should probably get the audio routed too, so that you don't. Yeah, what I'm gonna do is go into my companion and give myself a new button for audio from NDI. Oh, is that routed into here? No. Shoot, wait, Pro Convert. I thought I had the Pro Convert in here. Really? Okay, so I'm gonna have to do this. Oh, I guess I could bring the audio from. No, we have to do it from the stream to make it real. I'm just trying to get the audio. I'm just trying to get the live stream from the RØDECaster into this YouTube stream so you can see it for reals. Okay, I guess I have to do it in the ATEM. So we're gonna do it like this. We're gonna do presets, Constellation. Oh, there may not be a preset for Fairlight. Yeah, we're gonna go Pro Convert NDI audio, and this is going to set Constellation. Where is it? Oh my god, there's so many. I just want input mix option. There we go. So confusing. Input is Pro Convert, toggle, and then we need a feedback for it, which is input mix. Oh, really? Fairlight audio input audio mix. I don't know why that's called something different here. There we go. Now, great. So now I can bring in the audio from the Pro Convert and the video from the Pro Convert. So when I switch over to, you should see the side-by-side layout on the RØDECaster. No audio. Why is there no audio? 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 I see audio on the RØDECaster. And wait, echo. Wait, echo. Wait, echo. Wait, echo. Wait, echo. Wait, echo. Now, my headphones are not nearby. Infinite tunnel audio, what? No way. No way. I'm not seeing the audio levels. What? Okay. We're getting there. Lots of artifacting going on in live video compared to my ATEM Extreme. We're gonna look at this once I get the audio sorted out. Yeah, now I'm back because I muted the audio from that Stream Deck button. But when I don't see audio levels up there, what's going on? Where is it coming from? I need my headphones. That's what I need. Could you have handled a lot of that with the YellowBox Ultra and simplified the setup? No laptop? No, not at all, because not at all. The big thing missing from the YellowBox is the HDMI out. Maybe if I also brought the GoStream with the YellowBox, then yeah. Yes. Always monitor the audio. I mean, I need to go get my headphones. Where am I going to monitor the audio from? What is the source of truth of audio? The source of truth for the audio is the ATEM that is encoding the stream, which does not have a headphone jack. So I guess the closest thing is audio from the Constellation, which should be available in this monitor. There we go. Now, I don't hear it there. Check. 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 Now I hear it. Now I hear it. Now I hear it. Now I hear it. What I don't understand is that I can watch the audio that is in the ATEM. That audio is what you're hearing on the stream. I can see it in the multi-view. But when I turn this on, I don't see the levels. Okay. What am I doing wrong with It's because right. It's because the NDI audio is getting fed back into the stream, so it's creating the loop. So what I actually need to do is just use a different microphone for the RØDECaster video. That's what we're going to do. We're going to solve it that way. We're going to that's what we need to do. So we're going to get rid of HDMI 3. Oh, I can't change channels while it's streaming. So we're going to get rid of HDMI 3. And we have no audio from... Yeah, that's what it was. Okay. Then we're going to go to wireless and pair this. Oh, I might need to disconnect it from the RØDECaster Duo. Okay. Now we've got new audio coming into here. And, oh, I need to actually turn that up. Oh, yeah, one of the things was I had to do this audio mixing a little bit on the event, and it was a little bit annoying having to use the little knob. Okay, now that I've got that going, let's go live here. And now I see the stream. So let me put on my headphones so I can check this. So I'm going to turn off my main mic. Check, check. Now we have audio from NDI. Great. Okay. This should be in sync. There we go. No more infinite tunnel vision, tunnel audio. Okay, this is the stream from the RØDECaster Duo. Now what you are seeing... Oh, is it too low? I guess I didn't actually check the... Oh, and the ATEM software control crashed. That's interesting. I didn't actually check to see if that is at the right volume. Let me fix this. No, it's fine there. So it's RØDECaster's fault. Let's just do check. Check. Huh, it is quiet. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Check check. That sounds about the same now, right? Check check. Nope, that's quiet. Check. Auto gain assist. I'm testing out these settings. That's as high as that goes. That looks fine. So it's back here. I don't know why I need to add gain there, but that, I guess, helps. Okay. Now I'm like half a second delayed, so I can't listen to myself. Okay, the point of all this was to give you an actual demonstration of the stream from the RØDECaster video. So what you are seeing is actually the stream coming out of the RØDECaster video. I can do my cuts on the video. It should be in sync now because this is delayed for me, but it's delayed for me, but it should be in sync with the audio that you're seeing. So I can cut between the different scenes. I can go to my layouts like that. And it looks fine to me. I didn't mean to cause a whole catastrophe. It's fine. This stuff happens because I test things live. It's part of the fun. It's true. Thanks, Gwen. Is there phantom power for wireless audio? I don't really know what that would mean. No, not really. Okay. Anyway, this is the RØDECaster stream. Is this grainy, or what did you call it? Artifacty? Maybe if I move a lot. Looks fine. I see sharp edges. Yeah, I don't know. It looks fine to me. We'll go back to... Okay. I'll do more tests eventually. Maybe I will, at some point, also actually run a live stream on my channel with the RØDECaster video instead of just using it as like a test. Okay. Other questions? Do I have Mad Mapper so you can fit any screen size or any scaling program to make it easy? No, I've never heard of that. Yeah, I go through the pain so we don't have to. Yeah. How much was I paid? Is that okay to talk about? I don't know. I guess. Somebody else asked about that. Where was that? The Noel, for an event like that, charging from $750 to $1,200 is okay. it was a full day, which is a lot. And I actually did publish my rates for this from 2018, 2019. And this is what I used to charge. And this would be recording and streaming, $1,200 for a half day, $2,300 for a full day. And actually, yeah, I did get paid $2,500 for this, which is in line with my old rates, which I guess maybe should go up because I was charging that much. The 2-week delivery on the recordings, this was because I was also taking the individual sessions and clipping them out and then publishing those and when it's like 2 days of 30-minute sessions, there's a lot of editing required. But I finally got the process down to be able to actually like kind of do the edits during the breaks or during people's talks. So I was able to get them all out the next day after that. Yeah, I do need to add a remote guest option to that rate. That wasn't a thing back then. Joel says, would using an XR18 help or hurt your audio routing for this event? What is the advantage of using the RØDECaster? XR18 is definitely a useful box. The XR18, I don't have one. So again, like I was trying to use stuff that I already have rather than buying stuff for this. I think the big thing would be the wireless mics. So it was really, really handy being able to just pair this directly with the RØDECaster. And same with the little wireless lavs. And then the other thing that oh yeah, music. Music that I'm trying to make my list of unexpected things. Music during lunch break. They were like, "Oh, can we play music during the lunch break?" And I was like, "Well, actually, yes. You can just pair your phone's Bluetooth to the RØDECaster Duo, and then you can control the music." And I was able to pipe it out to the room. What event size do you think fits best the RØDECaster sound mixer versus other solutions like the X32? What event size? I did find one of the limits with the RØDECaster Duo is that there's only 2 microphones, including wireless or XLR. So this is actually different on the RØDECaster Video. On the Duo, there are 2 microphone slots that you can configure, and the other 4, or I guess 6 slots that are available can't be used for microphones. So if you take your input 1 and turn it into a wireless mic, you can't use combo jack 1. So essentially means you can only plug in 2 microphones. And that actually turned out to be a limit because I needed 3. I needed the handheld one for the host and for when I was host reading out the Q&A from the event, and the 2 wireless mics for the presenters. So for that, what I had to do was pair this with the RØDECaster Video and send it out through USB into the RØDECaster Duo. So that was already a limit with the Duo. I think the RØDECaster Pro, you can do 4 mics, so it wouldn't... I'm not sure how many wireless it has, though. It might be just 2 wireless still. But anyway, they can still add 2 more microphones. So that is a limit for sure, and a reason you might want to go to the X32. The other reason to go up to the X32 or X18 would be if you need more different submixes. Although there's already quite a lot on the RØDECaster Duo because you have all of the... it's not plugged into my computer, so I can't show you the configuration. But it's similar to the RØDECaster Video where you have all of the these different mixes you can make, which is actually more flexible than you get on the XR18, I feel like. But it could be a reason that you would want to go and if you need to do more different mixes. The controls on the Duo are limited. Like you get the fader and the mute button. Everything else is through the menus, but there's a lot more buttons on some of those larger mixer boards, which can be useful if you are practiced at them. Do I have a wireless HDMI transmitter receiver? Yeah, Hollyland sent me a few of theirs to test. And and Cine Eye Axoon. It's been a while though since I've got a new one, but I like them. I almost brought one for this, and then I looked at the room layout again, and I was like, actually, I think I can just do this with cables, and the one long run will be a fiber HDMI, so it was fine. How do you add music only in a scene on the RØDECaster video? Yeah, you can't right now. So this is one of the limits that I talked about it in one of the videos, but the limit is that if you like, there's one audio mix on the RØDECaster video right now. So what I want to be able to do is I want to say this scene is a break screen, and then this will play back audio from a video clip or something. You can't do that right now. I've asked them to change that, and I think they understand that it's useful. So we'll probably see an update for that. It was a super improvement when Rode enabled the wireless receiver on the RØDECaster, and the Interview Pro landed, and it got even better. 100% agree. It's very cool. Yeah, CineView HE HDMI transmitter never fails. They're solid. They're rock solid. 2 wireless, 4 XLR, and 1 USB on the RØDECaster Pro 2. Thanks. I did a lot of songwriter events and had 2 additional people, 1 on live sound, 1 on the main camera, and got $5K a day. No streaming, no remote guests, just recording. So $5K minus what you're paying your staff. Not bad. In terms of clarity and artifacts, like everything seems so much more sharp on the ATEM, and it looks almost 720p to me on the. Do you mean on the RØDECaster? I swear it looks fine to me. You know what we can do is we can actually route in my stress test clip, and now, since it's still streaming, we can actually take a look at it live. Let me turn the HybridX on, and I have those turn on. I should have, I think this is actually the clip that's already in there. Yeah. So I have my little stress test clip, which I can route into here. Let's do that. That should be here. HybridX 4. Oh shoot, that's in the matrix. Okay, it's coming out of HDMI 2 or matrix 2. So matrix 2. There we go. So now I've got the stress test clip being played back into here, and now we can actually really compare to see what it looks like. Because so if I go, I'm gonna like just cut to this, and now I don't have to worry about the sync issues. So Super Source 2, this is downscaling. This is the output of the RØDECaster video. So again, if I cut over the RØDECaster video to like scene B, you'll see what I mean. This is the RØDECaster video shrunk down over there, and it's playing back this stress test clip. This clip is pixel perfect created for 1080p. So I'll show it to you full scale up in a minute. But if you look at the grid that's right there, when you see that in full resolution, that should be, the middle part of that should be 1 pixel black, 1 pixel white, 1 pixel black, 1 pixel white. It's because it's scaled down, it's a big gray mush right now. So when I cut over to that, this is the actual output of the RØDECaster video doing its encoding. This is, I see individual pixels. Yeah. That looks like the left box is a bit muddy, but the right box is crisp. And then the rest of this, I see good color shading. I don't see any frames being dropped. Yeah, I mean, this looks pretty solid. Okay, also keep in mind you are looking at it on YouTube, so I'm seeing a little bit better quality than you are. Because I'm looking at the output from the RØDECaster video being sent onto my screen here through its encoding, but so we are seeing the its encoder do its work, and then you're seeing YouTube compress that down. So YouTube's doing another level of transcoding compared to. Also, like, make sure you're looking at YouTube in 1080 because YouTube Player might just downscale you to 720 randomly. What bitrate am I at? That is an excellent question. Let's see, where was that set up? Oh, I can't remember where that's. Where is that set up? I might be in Rode Central. Let's go to device config. System. Oh, geez. Frame rate, 30 frames, switching. ISO recording. Oh, yeah, ISO recording. That's the other huge reason for doing this compared to other. Oh, it's in stream profiles, isn't it? Which means I have to stop streaming. Stream profiles. No, it's not in stream profiles. Stream settings. There we go. So that was high quality. Let's go to low quality and see what happens. So this is low quality, and I'll pop you over to full screen. It's not bad. I see a little bit more artifacting in the more blockies are showing up in especially the pixel grid, the 1x1 pixel grid. And the noise track has more blocks, but it's pretty good, actually. Considering that's their low quality. Let's do that. Let's go back to high. Yeah. So high quality is 7 megabits, low quality is 3.5, medium is 5. I can see that on if you look at this layout, you can see the data rate down in the corner, 3.5, 5, and 7. So if we do that, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would not complain about this. Am I going to have a Black Friday sale on my stress test clips? Hint, hint, I should. Absolutely. I should do that. So I'll at least link. I'll drop a link. If you want to test your own videos with these clips, you can get them here, and I will put a sale on them for Black Friday. So we'll mention that again later. Okay, where was I in the chats? I just tested it. Refused to hear more than 2 wireless mics. That makes sense. Yeah. Can the Streamer X interface with the RØDECaster video to add a third XLR? Didn't I test that last week? I feel like I tried that last week and it didn't work. I feel like it should work. Do I ever do pre-recorded events with cameras only and no switchers? Pre-recorded? Or do you mean recorded? One of the the event that I did before in like 2018, it was a monthly event, a little meetup group. We had 3 talks in the evening, 15-minute talks. It was pretty short, and I would edit those videos and post them later. So it was a video, close up of the presenter, their slides, and a wide shot of the room, not live multicam. So I started by just doing recordings like in the cameras, bringing a recorder box to sit between the laptop and the projector, and just recorded everything, and then would go edit the videos later. And it was not fun because it's still like set up tripod, set up, power your cameras, run the wire for the projector, and then you're done with the event, and you have a lot of work to do. And you have to decide if you're going to do cuts live or if you're going to just do like a layout for the slides next to the presenter. You still need to add the intro screen. And I was like, this is not sustainable. Also because I was volunteering for that. So then I started going into live producing those, because if I can get the recording done live, then I don't have an edit process at the end. And way better. Way better. So yeah, I would not recommend for when you have like, obviously some events you have to record and edit later, but like this kind of conference is just not fun to edit later, because there's like no creativity in the editing. There's it's pretty obvious what needs to happen. It's just a lot of file copying around afterwards, which is just not fun. So I'm a big fan of live producing all of those and getting the recording done the day of, and then just you're done. At the most, you have to trim the start and end of your clip, but yeah. Do I think it's possible for Rode to add transparent video to the RØDECaster video? So yes, because they do support Chroma keying right now. They don't support Luma keying. So the way Chroma keying works is when you, let's see, what you can do is you can set up, what, there we go, weird. You can set up chroma keying on a source, and then what it does is the greens become transparent. So they look black now because they're not on top of anything. But if I go and make a picture-in-picture layout with that, you'll see that it is, I'll save it so I can scale it up. You'll see that it is, let me go over here and change this into a custom layout. And then scale that up. Can I type in a number here? Come on. I don't know why I can't type that in. So yeah, so you can see, basically I'm just showing you that it's transparent. So all the greens here became transparent. Oh, this is trippy. And now we can go to the stream. Oops, I wasn't streaming. Let's go stream. This is the, where did I go? Oh, I'm not in that scene. There we go. So now it's showing me through the green parts. So yes, it supports transparency already. I would like them to add Luma keying so that we can do this with, instead of chroma keying out the greens, just Luma key out the blacks. And I think it's definitely possible because they can do this kind of chroma keying. This is really weird. This is art. You do what I've been looking to do. Great. Yeah. So if you can get your graphics on a green background, you can do exactly that. You can overlay them. You can overlay them on top of a video. The limit right now is that it only works in scenes. You can't use them as overlays. So yeah, I am getting caught up trying to be in the frame. Somebody trying to peek through the green. It only works as a scene. So again, this is a feature request, which I've asked them for, but I would like to be able to use one of the inputs that has transparency as an overlay, which it does not currently do. So you have to do it in a multi-source layout, but you can at least then scale up the picture-in-picture to be full size. One of my favorite things about live production is that when the event's done, you're done, versus client wanting endless revisions with editing. Yep. 375 for all the clips. Ouch. Yeah. So if you look at the stress test, also, let me tell you how many hours I spent making these. There was a lot of time. So I have 4K and 1080 versions of all of these. And if you think about what that means, the pixel grid, for example, I have to recreate it for 1080 and 4K because they need to be pixel by pixel. The circles I can just scale up. So I have like one source file for that, and it's just scaled up for 4K and 1080. But the pixels I have to recreate because I need twice as many pixels in the grid. And same with the pixel track up here. The frame rate counter has to be redone for each frame rate. So every combination of 24, 25, 30. Oh, shoot. Did I? Yeah, I did add them. Okay. And I also added the fractional frame rate versions of them as well, 2997. So maybe you don't actually need all of them because it really is all of them. It's 90, 20, 1080, 24, 25, 30, 50, 60, and 23976 and 2997. I also have interlaced versions. I don't know why you need those, but somebody asked for them. And 4K or Ultra HD at all those resolutions. So this is why I made bundles, because you probably actually only care about like maybe 1080 and Ultra HD at the North American frame rates. Maybe you want film frame rates, right? So there's a whole bunch of different combinations of bundles you can get. But if you don't want to think about it, then you can just get all of them and help support my work here. Can you please demonstrate how Luma keying works? Not on the RØDECaster video because it doesn't support it, but essentially it is same idea as Chroma keying, except the dark parts get turned transparent, and you can change where that threshold is. Speaking of supporting Aaron's work, like and subscribe. Thank you for the reminder. Yes. Where was I in? I don't know why, but videos with a green screen background won't upload into the scene builder. It might just be the file format. It does support. I'm pretty sure I uploaded. Now I can't remember if I uploaded MP5s or not, or H265s. I've definitely uploaded MP4s into the scene builder. It doesn't care about whether there's a green background, but it doesn't support just every format. So it could just be the file format. Like I don't think MOVs are supported. Yeah. Gwen says, I second Roger's request. It's unfortunate the RØDECaster videos and ATEMs are 8-bit color. That is true. That would be nice if they were all 10-bit. Where was I didn't see that from Roger. Oh, I totally missed this question from earlier. Auto switching. If you connect a RØDECaster 2 through USB-C with 4 mics on the RØDECaster 2 will appear as a single USB connection when trying to assign an auto switching target. Yes. Right now, the link between the RØDECaster Duo and the RØDECaster Video is a single stereo mix. So they're not, you don't get all of the mics as individual channels in the RØDECaster Video. That seems like a pretty obvious thing for them to add. But I don't know if it's possible. But I feel like bringing multi-track audio in from the RØDECaster Duo or Pro would be really, really useful, because then you could really use your RØDECaster Duo for your podcast. Like, let's say you're already podcasting, right? You already have all your mics set up with the RØDECaster Duo, and then you add the RØDECaster Video for the video part, and you want to auto cut your cameras based on the audio that's in your RØDECaster Duo or Pro. It makes a ton of sense to me. I would very much like to see that added. I don't know at all if it's possible for them to do that. Can we add a browser in the Rode central scene? No, not right now, but I have a feeling that's coming. No promises though, but I strongly suspect we'll see that added. How am I liking the RØDECaster Video? Without breaking my NDA, any hints at Blackmagic Design making a new video switcher? I don't get any secret information from Blackmagic, so I don't have anything to worry about. All of my information is the same information that you all have. So, Yeah, no idea. If you were to get the Stream Deck Studio, how would you implement it into the setup, and who do you think it's for? I think it makes a lot of sense for like control rooms with desks that are even bigger than mine. This is a lot of stuff already, but this is not really set up like an actual control room with desks for individual people. I think they make a lot of sense there. I could see it making sense for this kind of thing for like, if I didn't have the patch panel down here, using it to route things between the hyperdecks, which would be useful. It looks like I will be getting one from Elgato to share, to test out and make some videos on. So do stay tuned. I'm looking forward to trying it out. Editing is my favorite part of a production. 4:6 camera filming, DCI 4K. I mean, that's great. And yes, the files are massive. I'm not saying editing is not enjoyable. I just think that editing that kind of event where it's someone presenting slides at a conference is not fun. Tell me if you think that's fun, because that does not sound like fun to me. Editing is fun when it's like more different stuff going on, like actual interesting visuals. But yeah, that's what someone who's getting secret information from Blackmagic would say. Okay, the one secret information I have from Blackmagic, which I feel like the statute of limitations on this has run out at this point. I did not actually sign an NDA for it, but I did tell them I would not share this. But that was 2.5 years ago now, and it still hasn't come out, so I feel like it's fair game. You know how the bidirectional converters, the HDMI and SDI ones, do I have one here? No. They have a HDMI in, HDMI out, SDI in, SDI out. And they're super useful little things, right? You plug in an HDMI and then you can either do loop, you can take the HDMI out as a loop out and then also convert to SDI, or you can plug in SDI and use it that direction. So one SDI in, SDI pass through and convert to HDMI. Really useful little boxes. And then if you plug in HDMI in and SDI in, it'll go into cross mode where it's like having two converters in one. The problem with them is that it auto switches for you. So if you're using it in bidirectional mode, and then let's say you have a presenter's laptop plugged in to the HDMI, but then you're using the SDI input for like a camera, then when the presenter removes their laptop, then it switches into pass-through mode. So now what you had on the SDI was the presenter's laptop, and now it switches to whatever's on the SDI in. And depending on what you're using this for and how you've got the rest of the stuff routed, this can actually be a huge problem, because the worst case is where you have where you are using that SDI, like let's say you're sending the presenter's laptop to a projector, but also using the audio from their laptop. So you have the audio turned on. And then you've got a camera plugged in, and the cameras have built-in mics, so there's just room audio coming in, and you're not using that audio at the HDMI. But as soon as they yank their HDMI input, now the SDI audio goes from the laptop audio to the camera audio, and that can actually create a feedback loop in the room and blow out everything. It can get really bad. So a lot of people, myself included, because I actually used to have a ton of converters in here. I've reduced them because more of my gear is SDI now, but I used to have a ton of converters in here. And it's also a problem, like if you reboot a device, like if you're using converters out of an ATEM Mini and you have to reboot it, then all the converters switch into pass-through mode briefly. So there's lots of it can just be a mess. So myself and a lot of other people asked for a feature to change how the converter works, whether you want it to be auto switching or locked into one of the modes. So you can lock it into cross mode or pass through, like SDI in or HDMI in mode. And I asked my contacts at Blackmagic for this. There's a huge forum thread about this on the Blackmagic forums. And then at NAB 2.5 years ago, I got a email from, or I chatted with one of the guys who's working on it, and they sent me a beta build with that feature in it. And I installed it on my converters, and it's been rock solid the whole time. Like, now I can lock my converters into bidirectional mode or pass-through mode, and I don't have to worry about it anymore. And it's incredible. And there have now been multiple firmware updates since then that don't include that feature, and I don't understand why they're not releasing it, because like it works great. So there you go. 2.5 years. I feel like 2.5 years and several firmware updates later. Yeah, they need to just ship it. The Decimator 12G Cross, you're configuring each path, but those are also cost a lot more. On the other hand, they can do a lot more. Yeah, well, that's the nice thing about the bidirectional converters, is that they're relatively affordable. Okay, that was a fun little tangent. Excited for the Mac Mini M4, which will be the size of an Apple TV November 1st. Really? I didn't know about that. I am excited about that. I like tiny things. I think someone should create a monthly blooper reel from your videos and streams. Are you volunteering? I wouldn't say no. What's been your experience with the ATEM Mini Pro's Chroma keying versus a digital key in software like OBS for a live Chroma key? The ATEM Mini's Chroma keying is pretty good. Definitely not as good as the Ultimate's Chroma keying, but it's pretty good. I haven't ever really done Chroma keying and OBS. Let's see. I've done it for graphics, but I've never done it for video because I try to not run video through OBS. Roger Science Corner says, is it likely for the RØDECaster video to provide native ability to bring in a remote guest like the YOLO box? This is a tough one. The way I would think this would work, based on how I know other things work, would be it would actually be done through Rode Central. So if you think about what's going on here, this video preview is coming from the RØDECaster, and it's like real. It's not low frame rate, right? I actually don't even have the RØDECaster video plugged into my USB right now. This is coming over the network. Like you can see, it's got the IP address here, not USB. So it's connected over the network. There is a video stream going from the RØDECaster into my computer to make this work. That suggests to me that it wouldn't be that hard to also go the other direction of send a video stream from my computer to the RØDECaster video, because they've already got some of that sorted out. So there is a Zoom SDK, and Zoom SDK you can use to build Zoom into applications. And it's kind of how Zoom ISO works, where like, let me see if I can launch it. Zoom ISO is a separate app, and it was originally built not by Zoom, and then they bought them and the people. So Zoom ISO is a separate app. Oh, I'm on the trial now because I moved my license to my other laptop. And this is like, this is not Zoom's interface, but as soon as I click meeting, it launches what appears to be Zoom, because this is like the Zoom SDK is like built into this, right? So then, because it was launched from Zoom ISO has access to the video streams, and it can push it around to the, to the. Oh, apparently my deck link isn't on. Right, I turned that power off. But I can output it to the different devices that are plugged in, right? So I think they could do the same thing with Rode Central and build in a remote guest feature into here, and it would use the Zoom SDK, and it would take the video streams from the guests and push them into the RØDECaster video over the network or over USB, and they could pop up in as individual sources in the RØDECaster video. It's definitely possible. I don't know if it's possible with the current set of hardware that's in the RØDECaster video, but they did say that there's a lot of flexibility, because it's kind of like having, it's a weird like combo hardware software device. Like it is actually running Linux inside, but it's got like a GPU. It's also got like an additional video processing circuitry. So they while a lot of this stuff is happening in software, it's software that's supported by actual hardware. So there's a lot more flexibility compared to what you can do in a ATEM, because that's only FPGAs. And this is actually running a little computer inside. So I think it's possible, and I would love to see it. And that's how I think it would work. I guess because it's running Linux, the other way to do it is you could actually put the Zoom SDK into the box, but I feel like that's a little bit harder. And also then I don't know how I would control Zoom. So doing it in the Rode Central would make a lot of sense. Tom says, how can the RØDECaster video's audio-based switching be influenced? Can we prioritize guests or control how often it switches to a wide shot? So there's not a lot of options in it right now. I think they did that just to make it easy. So if you go to auto switching, what you do is you set which angles you want to be auto switched to. So you don't have to have all of them turned on. You can say, I want that one, and I want scene A, and I want those, right? And then you link them to audio. And then the only other option you get is priority. High, medium, low. And this is you're not setting timing precisely, but it just does its own math on it, right? So if you want to prioritize the wide shot with multiple people in it, you can do that. Set these to medium or low. If you want to prioritize the close-up angles, you would do it this way, where there's only one person in those, and then you would set that to low. You don't get exact control over it, but it does a pretty good job. If Rode does Zoom integration, it would make it a lot more appealing. Remote guests can be a pain technically. Yes, remote guests is challenging for sure. Especially if you're doing remote guests and piping them into the room, which is very different than remote guests just in a live stream like this. Somebody actually just left a comment on a video asking about getting a Zoom guest into the RØDECaster video. And I feel like I want to do a video on that because that would be a good sort of basic way of doing it, of like, instead of Zoom ISO, which is its own monthly fee, and you really should get the extra hardware for it. But the I would like to watch a video. Somebody should make this. I will probably make it, of just using Zoom, the Zoom app, and just like full screen on the remote guest, and use it as a second monitor into the RØDECaster video. Yeah, that would be the easy way to do it. It works really easy on the Yellow Box Ultra. Yeah, they did a good integration with remote guests for sure. Matt says, last week you showed using something to write over the screen on the RØDECaster video. Is there a way to do that on the Yellow Box Ultra? Yeah, same concepts would apply. Is that video out? I filmed so many and they're like trickling out. No, it is not yet. Okay, so it's in the queue. It'll be out in a week or two, probably 2, maybe 3. Oh my gosh. I've got a video about building the 4-channel video player scheduled. I've got the auto switching video podcast scheduled. Maybe I'll put that out next on Tuesday. That'll be the next video. So it's a video all about the auto switching features, which I just talked about, but now it's in 6-minute form instead of in the middle of a 2-hour live stream form. And then there's a video coming out about doing that drawing trick. But yeah, same concepts basically. You need green background out of your iPad, and I like that iPad app that lets you do like full canvas output into the Yellow Box. The Yellow Box can chroma key. So, yep. Once we get a browser source, we can Ninja video into it. I would be really curious how well that would work. Yeah. But yes. What are the maximum hours streaming with the GoStream Duet? I haven't done like a hours test of the streaming feature, actually. I have not tried to run that to the max. I used the GoStream yesterday for 8 hours straight, but it wasn't using the streaming feature. It was just using the switching and video playback. Okay, let me scroll back, see if I missed any questions. I probably did. I have Procreate, so I think I have everything to do. I think so, yeah. I'm dying to see that video about writing on your video. So I did a demo of it during a live stream. Let's see if I can find it. So if you go to this link, you can search through, it's a weird whistle. You can search through the questions I asked on shared on previous live streams. So if I go to last week's, here's all the questions that we talked about. And let's see if I can search for iPad. So at 2:04, there was a question, what's the name of the iPad drawing app? So probably I was talking about it right before then. So you can just jump to that and then see the demo. So let's see, draw. Yeah, it was probably around then. But just a tip for searching through questions from past live streams, because man, there's a lot of content here. I think there's a limit for Duet program recording. Oh, interesting. I wonder if it's file size limit or something. I did not. So when I was recording the talks yesterday, I was starting and stopping the recording between each session. I'm always paranoid about forgetting to start recording again, but I wasn't trying to time it so that the file starts at like exactly the right spot. So I was basically stopping and starting during the breaks. And then there's like, 5 or 10 minutes of fluff to edit out later, but that's fine. Yeah. Okay. They gave you the Aaron beta to shut you up about the Blackmagic converters. Where was I? I'm just going back to see if there was anything I missed. I never edit live events, maybe just the beginning start time. Yeah, totally. Blackmagic doesn't have secret information. Grant comes out and spills the beans. True. Ryan is a distributor in Australia, and yeah, Blackmagic doesn't share information with him either. I wish we had made it so that the wide default and not only going wide when the two mics are engaged. Yeah, I also want that. I want the wide I want to cut back to the wide shot when there's no audio in either mic, which, like, if both speakers stop talking and they pause, I want to cut back to the wide shot. I agree. Okay. Art reminds me of John's streams a few weeks ago when he and Jonas casually rolled with the unexpected digital art segment. Yeah. Okay, great. Super tangent. Did you put an HDMI monitor in that classic Mac shell, or is that something else going on back there? I'm glad somebody finally noticed. Yes. It is a monitor in that shell. I had an extra shell, and I got a little, I don't remember, 8-inch or something LCD panel. But you might notice that it's my overhead shot, right? So it's got you can see my hands there. But here I'll change it to my main camera. Now it's me up there. And notice that it looks kind of black and white-ish. What I did was, the bidirectional converters in Blackmagic, you can actually no, not the bidirectionals, the non-bidirectionals, you can load a LUT into them. So I created a LUT in Resolve that it's like a slight blue shift and mostly grayscale. There's a tiny bit of color left in there, but mostly grayscale and a slight blue shift. And now I can just route any of my inputs from the ATEM can pop up in there. Like I can show my computer screen with the ATEM software control, and you know, you don't really see the yellows and reds anymore. It's all black and white. I think it's cute. I'll leave it on my computer screen for a while so you can see me using the chat. It is the bidirectional ones? I always forget. I swear it was the single directional ones. Anyway, either the bidirectional or the single converters you can load LUTs onto. It's kind of cool. SDI to HDMI. Yeah, it's this one. 3D LUT available on the SDI loop out. So this one is what's in there. So SDI running from my ATEM into that screen with the LUT on it that turns it into black and white. I think I have Resolve open. I can show you the project. Oops, not wrong button. Mac SE, yeah. So this is, I just brought in a random recording from me here. And then in the color tab, this is the adjustments I did. So let's see. Saturation is way down. A little up on the blues there, a little up on the blues there. But yeah, so now whatever I run into that monitor looks bluish. I think it's fun. What small panel did I buy? Good question. Let me see if I can find it. Now you can watch me browse Amazon on the tiny Mac. It was a while ago, I think. This was one of my projects that I bought the monitor for it like in May. Yeah, I bought it in May. Oh my gosh. I bought it in May and then did not get around to dealing with it until I was motivated when I was like, okay, I'm going to put the shelf back in the background. And that was enough motivation to finally finish that project. It is a 9-inch. It's actually a touchscreen monitor, which I'm definitely not using. And but I couldn't find anything that was the right size other than this. I'm working on the link. Oh, apparently I've been streaming so long that my streaming do not disturb expired. I have a schedule set in iOS that puts my phone into do not disturb mode and mutes the sounds, but it turns off after 2 hours. Yeah, so that is the this is the little monitor. It is it does not have a case, which was key for me. So it's actually made to put a Raspberry Pi on the back. But oh yeah, the annoying thing is that the HDMI ports are on the side. So and it, like I wanted that obviously to fit like exactly in that case. So what I had to do, I think I might have a picture of this. I think I have a picture of this when I was doing it. Pretty sure I put it into the Discord, the members Discord, which by the way, if you're not in, you should join. If you're a channel member, you have access to it. You just go to your section on the YouTube tab that talks about how to get in. And well, oh yes, there we go. So what I had to do was I had to make some. Oh yeah, this is part of why I was procrastinating on it. I had to 3D print a bracket to attach it to the Mac. So I had to leave room for the connectors. So I had to route around the connectors. And then I can't plug in the cables to the side there, right? Because they would go through the side of the case. So I got these 180 degree adapters for USB-C and HDMI that are like a loop so that the connectors are available in the other direction. And then the first one I bought was too short. So I had to buy a second one. Just a little bit too short for that. This is a better shot of them. And then, oh, right. it was, yeah, it was in the way. And I was, at this point, I was like, I don't want to buy, I can't find another adapter. And I needed to just be done with the project. So I just hacksawed the bracket that I 3D printed to make room for the connectors. But now you can see that it's like a 180-degree little thingy that that lets me plug in the cables on the inside then. And then that is a close-up of what it looks like on the shelf. And I think it's cool. It's not the right aspect ratio. I decided that I could not find one with the right aspect ratio, so I was going to just leave. It's actually black. It's like a cardboard box that was black that I just put in front to cover the gap. You can't really tell there's a black bar on the bottom. It's fine. So it's a 1024 by 600 monitor that scales to 1920 1080 input. Yeah, exactly. You definitely can't tell that it's not an actual full HD monitor back there, but the important part is that it does scale up the 1080 signal itself. So I can feed it a 1080 signal and it handles it on the screen. How many more screens do you think you can hide in the background? There is another one hiding it, actually. Let's see if it's got battery. Yes. This is a tiny TV. I keep meaning to load. I need to figure out what I'm going to play on this. It came with this fireplace clip. There we go. You can't really tell at that distance what it is. But I was like, what can I put on there that would be like appropriate? I was thinking maybe like I could just put on old live streams from like an old version of my set from like years ago and just let them play on that on a loop. Am I going to take some drone time on the 8th? Right now, Amazon says mine's coming on the 10th. So Thursday? What is that? Yeah, Thursday. And yes, absolutely. Going to take some drone time when that thing comes. That'll be fun. Can you walk me through how you chroma keyed earlier? Sure. This is, I guess I'll share this because the video is not coming out for a couple of weeks. Let me reset this. How do I reset it on keying limit reached? Oh, there we go. Remove. Okay. So on here, first you need to configure the chroma key for the input. So you press on the input, key that, select green or blue, make it transparent. Okay, great. And then you'll see in your input that all of the greens are removed. So let me remove it again. All right, so I got greens in the test clip. I key that out, make them transparent. Now they're black. Then you need to make it a scene out of it. So the fastest way to make a scene is click on the camera that you want to use as the background. Hold down on the, so click on, let's say that my main camera. Hold down on an empty scene, and that saves that camera as a scene. I'm doing this a different way, but this is how I prefer to do it. So if you look at the software, I have scene E, which is just one source. So that was one source. Then I can add a new layer, and I can add input 4, which is the part that with the chroma key now. So that's my preferred way to do it. The other way to do it is to make a picture-in-picture layout and then change it to a custom scene, but it makes more sense in my head to do it this way. So either way. Thanks, that's how you do it, but confuse myself again trying to do it. Well, now I showed you 2 different ways to do it, so you can be even more confused. Old monitors didn't really go full edge to edge anyway. Well, that was kind of the cool thing about the Mac is that they like covered up the edge of the monitor so that it looks actually like it's taking up the full space in its shell. So, oh well. Tim says, I'm running composite into the converter box SDI to GoStream Duet SDI. It's not showing up on multi-view. Did I convert correctly? Am I missing something? I don't know about that box in particular, but I also don't know off the top of my head which of the SDI versions the GoStream Duet uses. It could be that the version AB thing is mismatched. But I don't know about this converter box. So see if there's options there for different SDI formats, or also the GoStream probably, I don't think it can scale. I think it's just frame rate converters, not scalers. So make sure that the converter box is doing the scaling to 1080. If the GoStream can scale, I think it only scales 720, but I think it only does frame rate conversion. Uh-oh, found the best thumbnail ever posted in members Discord. Well, I'm gonna go take a look at that. I wonder what this is. Okay, we're gonna wrap this up. It's been 2 hours, so yeah, it's about time to go. Thank you all for joining. Thanks to all the channel members for your support. Thank you to our extreme supporters, Larry, David, and Marcin. And thanks to everybody else for joining every week and asking questions and bringing your tips into the chat. It's a lot of fun. I should be here same time, same place next week. I'm looking at my calendar. Yeah, same time, same place next week. Maybe I'll be able to have a remote guest on. I've been thinking about it. We'll see. Yeah, anyway, we'll be back next week with more questions, more answers. If you have anything you want me to share next week, post in the Discord about like what gear you want me to demo. I'll probably have the RØDECaster out again, just because I'm still having fun using it. So we'll probably play around with it some more. But if you want me to try out something different, I'm happy to, of course. And otherwise, yeah, we will see you all again next time. And oh, I do have a lot more gear I need to share. I just realized I got a big shipment. Ooh, okay, that'll be fun. Well, stay tuned. We'll see you next week. Bye.